So how can we improve data center product management? The number one goal for data center product managers is to deliver value to its intended clients, which sounds easy enough. But in a lot of companies, there's often great debate, fierce debate, hotly contested debate over what these priorities need to be. So generally, it depends on the nature of your business model. Technology companies, sometimes facilities companies are a little bit tighter and invest more aggressively in product-related roles. Sometimes operators, depending on the nature of their business model, may not invest quite as aggressively in product-related roles, depending on their company size and their focus. But at the end of the day, product is an essential part of the go-to-market team, working hand in hand with marketing. Sometimes there's a dedicated product marketer or product marketing team, kind of a mix between marketing and product. Of course, product works really carefully with sales to make sure that the product roadmap, both current and present and future, takes into account what clients are asking for. And same basic reason why product managers work closely with customer success, work closely with account managers. And of course, if your company has a channel partner focus, there's a really good chance that your product leaders, product managers will spend significant time with your channel leadership and channel partners to make sure that you're building features and services and making investments that help your channel partners be more successful as well. But in some companies, product is elevated all the way to the executive level of the company, like a CPO, a chief product officer. In some companies, there's a vice president of product. Some companies in the data center operator space will combine marketing and product together. I've seen that with a number of the large data center operators, colocation kind of companies, where there's a vice president of product and marketing, there's a chief marketing and chief product officer aligned together into the same roles, kind of joined at the hip. The one thing I will say when it comes to consolidating those functions is, as we move closer and closer to the reality that so much of the buyer's journey is now self-service, is now self-driven, where, as Gartner found, 83% of a typical journey happens before sales contact, you're going to increasingly see a convergence of these roles. Because in commoditized, relatively low ticket, fairly mature product and service categories, it's going to be fairly common for marketing to do most of the heavy lifting during the middle and early stages of the journey, where product marketing is incredibly important, and even features that go into the product roadmap that make it possible for this self-propelled journey to be successful become incredibly important. But at a high level, the best way to improve your product management is making sure that you're delivering exceptional value to your intended customers, to your intended clients, to your intended channel partners. So when you think about what does the report card look like for a product manager, I kind of look at your case studies page. For example, like, what kind of value are your best clients getting? And from there, how easy is it and straightforward is it to infer and build your ideal client profile from the consensus on what's on your case studies page? The reality is your product manager should be spending a ton of time with your customers. And the higher the ticket, the more considered the purchase length is, the more likely it is that your product manager will need to spend a significant amount of his or her year on the road visiting clients at their own sites. If you're fortunate enough that your clients come to you on a regular basis, you can probably get away with a little less travel. But either way, if your product manager isn't spending a significant amount of their year, a significant amount of their month having meetings with clients and potential clients, they're probably getting distracted into things that may not necessarily be top priority. And then there's also going to be a significant amount of stakeholder consensus building that needs to happen with internal customers, with other members of the go-to market team. But one of and again, this all needs to be contextualized, because the advice of what a product manager does, what a product team does, is so different in a Fortune 1000 enterprise compared to a 10 person or 50 person colocation provider or niche technology company or niche facilities company that works with data centers. If you are the one person that is full-time product and you are the entire product management team, you have very different resources than someone that works on a product team with dozens of full-time equivalents and contractor and vendor specialist support behind you. But I like to, with a lot of these questions, if I don't know the size context, I think kind of Goldilocks, where it's not a startup, it's not an enterprise, it's probably somewhere in the middle. More than likely, it's a company with anywhere from a few dozen to a few hundred employees. And in that context, I think one of the things that can work exceptionally well is collaborating with other members of your go-to-market team to have product involved in content and thought leadership creation, just simply because if you can work with your marketing team, who essentially may be building an in-house media function, to be interviewing your best customers and your channel partners and other influencers within your space that are close to or representative of your target account list, of your ideal clients, of your buyer personas, you can many times triple dip on those efforts, meaning that marketing is accomplishing some traffic generation and lead generation goals. Sales is getting a resource out of those podcasts and webinars for sales cycle acceleration. And you also can get some questions in there that help you better understand what needs to come next on the product roadmap. And if you're able to find the time to be actively involved in some of those podcasting and webinar efforts on a regular basis that allow you to get closer to the end customers and understanding in their own words what their biggest struggles are, what their biggest goals are, helping to build out the use cases and cards and everything and stories and epics that drive what you're going to be working on, that can be a huge win. I think a lot of people overlook just how the low-hanging fruit nature of that is, that by making a significant investment in arming your company to compete effectively in the first 83% of that self-propelled journey, where so much of it is based on educational content and educational events, both online and offline. To the extent that you can be involved in that, you're almost certainly going to get closer to customers, potential customers, channel partners, all the folks that rally around finding a lot of value in the resources that your company is providing to position yourselves as the go-to subject matter experts in your space. So those are some of the best practices that I would lean into for improving data center product management. Set at a high level, the more time that you can spend with the right stakeholders in the right places at the right time and in the right context, the more it's going to help you understand what truly is going on in their world and how your company can deliver value. How you go about prioritizing and sitting down with your CFO and sitting down with your executive team and figuring out where the big R&D and development investments need to be in the coming months and in the coming years, that's a whole separate question of how to build to rally around those initiatives and get the resources that you need to get built. But just from defining what needs to get built and getting more responsive to the market, there's a lot to be said for spending more time directly with your prospects and customers, spending more time with your internal customers on your go-to-market team, your peers, to better understand. And the key thing with all of this is, when it's very similar to when you're building buyer personas, is do not make the assumption that your internal team knows what needs to be built, because even if they kind of sort of get it right, it's very likely that they may not capture the exact language of your most important prioritized buyer persona. So you need to get their words, the buyer persona, your prioritized buyer persona's words, not the telephone game version that's told to you by your sales team or by your customer success managers or something like that. So get directly to the source. Again, podcasting and webinars are awesome. Surveys are awesome for that. Social listening is awesome. But anything that you can do to get really, really tight around the stakeholders that you care most about building your products for. Next question up is